What's going on, boys and girls? It's been a minute since my last video. I didn't do any content for the Wolves game, and to be honest, I'm kind of glad I didn't now. That was an absolute shocker of a performance, and we were seconds away from royally effing up that match. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. It was a week ago now. A lot's been said. We got the 3 points, which ultimately is all that really matters. And now it's about the players bouncing back and proving that that was just a kind of one-off performance. And look, if you're an Arsenal fan, I think we have a right to be a little bit concerned by recent performances and results. If we take it all the way back to the Sunderland performance, we've got the Sunderland last-minute equaliser to go out of that with a draw. We come back from the international break, we get a great win against Tottenham, we beat Bayern Munich, all's looking well. We go into Chelsea, we ultimately draw that, which again, if you apply some context, okay, not the worst result in the world. You then lose to Aston Villa, last minute winner for Villa. You drop points. You played against Wolves at home. Everyone's talking about 4-5-0. You score, you have to rely on a last-minute own goal winner in that one. And all of a sudden, we go from being kind of 6 points, 7 points clear of City, 9-10 points clear of Liverpool, to all of a sudden going into this game against Everton, where more than likely, if not definitely, we will be sitting in second place as we go into this game against Everton, with Man City playing West Ham at home. I can't see anything but a win for Man City in that one, particularly with the way they're playing right now. And I don't think we can ignore how good City look right now. I still think their defence is their weak point, but the simple truth is they have so much threat going forward. And for as long as Haaland is fit and starting in that number 9 position, you kind of feel like they're going to outscore 90% of teams they come up against. So, even if they're conceding 1-2 goals a game, you're kind of looking at them going, well, they're going to score a minimum of 3 goals a match. So they are a worry right now. And I think they'll be determined to put some serious pressure on us by kind of dispatching of West Ham comfortably, like they did against Palace, which I thought was an impressive win. And so the heat will be well and truly on these Arsenal players. And so it'll be really interesting to see how Arsenal stand up to this one. I don't think we have been at our best for a while now. We've had some not so great results. You can apply some context to those results, of course, but I think we're definitely due a good performance from this Arsenal team. And there's a few players in particular that really need to kind of stand up and be counted going into this Everton game. This isn't going to be an easy game. Everton have been a tricky customer this season. They have been a little bit up and down. I think if my memory serves me correctly, they've lost their last 2 home games, or their 2 losses of the season have come at home to Newcastle and Tottenham, and they've been quite convincing wins for Tottenham and Newcastle. So they're definitely a team that can be beaten. They're definitely a team that can be got at, particularly at home. They're missing some key players by the looks of it coming into this game. There's some players off at AFCON. Dewsbury Hall came off in the last match out against Chelsea, so he's probably 50-50 to start. Grealish, I think, also is kind of not looking 100% for the game. I definitely expect one of those players, if not both, to probably eventually make it to the starting 11, but it would be great to see at least one of those, if not both of them, out, because I think at the moment, I think any small win for us is something that we should be taking. So if 2 of their most creative, dangerous, threatening players are unable to play, then that's a welcome boost in my eyes. This is a must win. I say it every week, and I think at this point every game is a must win. But if I look at the starting 11, Raya in goal, Timber on the right, Ben White's going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks, which is a real shame, and I just don't know when we're going to get a break with these injuries. Like I don't know who's walked under a ladder at Arsenal Football Club, but our history with injuries these last few seasons has just been atrocious, and it's just such a shame for Ben White, because he was finally starting to look like the old Ben White and starting to get some minutes under his belt, and you were looking at him going, right, he's got a part to play this season, he's got a part to play in this team. And so for him to do that hamstring and now be out for another 4 or 5 weeks, which means it'll probably take him, another week, another 2-3 weeks to get up to speed again. So you're probably not looking at getting kind of the best Ben White for another 7 or 8 weeks from now, which is a real shame. So Timber will go in at the right. I'm interested to see what he does with the centre-back partnership. Obviously, Saliba looks like he's back now. He played against Wolves, which was great, so I imagine he's fit to play. And then it's really about, do we start Nkapia with him, or do we bring in Calafiori and give Lewis Skelly a shot on the left back position? I don't know what he'll do, actually, if I'm honest. If I had to guess, I'd say he will probably stick with Nkapia and he'll keep Calafiori at left back. I think he loves what Calafiori brings to the team at left back, and so I think that will be his back four. Zubimendi has played a lot of football, but I guess they have had a week's break, which is probably the first time the team's had a proper week break in between games. So I'm assuming they've probably allowed Zubi some proper rest in this week. So I would expect him to slot into the 6 role. Rice will no doubt go into the 8. And then the 10, does he go with Odegaard or does he put Eze in there? I think because we're away from home and because he's probably going to want to control the game, or at least do his best to try and control the game, I think he'll probably go with Odegaard. Saka will go on the right, although I think Madueke is definitely deserving of an opportunity in this game, but I just don't, you look at what Saka did in the Wolves game. Saka single-handedly won us that game. He was the only player in that starting 11 who could kind of walk off that pitch with his head held relatively high, and he is simply the only player right now who you can kind of almost bank on to create moments and chances within a game for us to score from. So Saka has to start, but I do think Madueke is deserving of minutes. So maybe if we get ourselves into a good position in the game, he can get a good 35 minutes in the second half. On the left-hand side, I guess it comes down to Eze, Trossard or Martinelli. I don't think Martinelli is the answer. I think when we're playing teams away from home, like an Everton, who are more than likely going to sit back and be quite deep and resolute, I just don't think Martinelli offers enough in this sort of game. So it's definitely either Trossard or Eze. I want to give Eze a shot, but at the same time, I've been really disappointed with Eze, if I'm being really honest, in the last few weeks. Like, particularly since the Tottenham game, I just don't really see what Eze's done, and I don't think he is... I know he's a moments player, but when you're playing for a team like Arsenal, who have the majority of the ball in the game, I'm expecting more from him, and I'm just not getting it. And I think at the end of the day, Trossard, alongside Saka, has been our best attacking player. So if he's back to kind of fully fit, ready to go, ready to start, I'm playing Trossard, and I'm using Eze as an off-the-bench option if Odegaard's not doing the business. And then up front, this is the big debate. This is the debate online. There's been so much conversation around Gyökeres. And look, I get it. I'm in that camp too, where I'm starting to ask questions. I'm starting to go, what's going on here? Something's not looking right. But I also do think the criticism has been unfair. And I think we are still... I think we're talking too early on Gyökeres, If you factor in the fact he's missed a couple of weeks through injury, he didn't have a pre-season... This is his first season in the Premier League with Arsenal. He's still getting his head around how we play. I think we're still getting our head around how we need to play to best serve him. I think we need to just calm down a little bit with Gyökeres, but he does need to start showing a little bit more. I think it's a mixture of, we need to start giving him more as a team. We need to start playing more to his style. We need to start creating chances for him. We're not really creating anything. But I think he needs to start making stuff himself as well. Like, when he gets the ball, he needs to show something. He needs to do something a little bit more. He's not always going to get everything served on a platter for him. So, I don't think Jesus is ready to start yet. I don't think he's quite there. So I would be surprised to see Jesus start. But he's definitely showing plenty when he's coming on in these last few games to give a lot of people food for thought about, should Jesus be given a shot in front of Gyökeres? And I can't really argue with that, Like, I'm not sitting here saying Jesus is the most lethal striker in the Premier League or even at the club, but I think what he does right now contributes a lot more and offers us a lot more threat and danger moving forward in terms of link-up play, his hold-up ability, and just the way he creates kind of danger and havoc in the opposition defence. And he's that type of player that can create something out of nothing, which keeps defenders on their toes and makes us more of a threat. Whereas I feel like with Gyökeres, it's kind of get the ball to his feet and he needs to get a shot off. Otherwise, he's not really doing anything else. So I think for this game, on the premise that I don't think Jesus is ready to start, and I do think Gyökeres needs to be given more of a chance. I'm probably going to start Gyökeres in this game if it was my decision. I know Marino is another option, but again, I think we need to stick with Gyökeres. You know, Gyökeres was the big money signing. He's the centre forward signing that we've all been crying out for. We know he can score goals, and we have to keep putting him in that 9 position and hoping that he comes good. Obviously, that's not just an endless line of faith that we can give out to Gyökeres. At some point, if he's not delivering, we are going to have to change it. But I think on face value right now, if I look at our options and I look at the context of the situation, I think you've got to give Gyökeres this game to start up front and see what he can do. So that's my starting 11. I want to see Arsenal go back to the way they played a couple of years ago, where they would just blitz teams off the park in that first 15-20 minutes. Like we would start so fast and hard, get an early goal and kind of kill the game in that first 20-30 minutes and just completely beat down the opposition. I'd love to see us do that. Whether we will do that, I don't know. It doesn't look like Arteta wants to play that type of football anymore. It's all about control and build up and tempo and so I don't think we'll see that, but I would love to see that. Like, I just think away from home in these types of games, you've got to shut the crowd up. You've got to show the team that you're on it. And I would love to see us start hard and fast in this game and get an early goal and just kind of insert our dominance into the match. I think this is the type of game where if we just try and pass it around and kind of maintain possession of the ball without creating any kind of dangerous moments for Everton at the back, they're just going to grow in confidence. They're going to feel like they can deal with whatever we're bringing to them. And I feel like the longer it stays 0-0, the more chance you have of Everton sneaking a goal and all of a sudden us being in a position where we're 1-0 down and we've got to score 2 goals. So I would love for us to just look a bit more threatening, a little bit more intent. I want to see more intent from the team in this game. I don't want us to be 1-0 up and backs to the wall, holding out for a 1-0 with 15 minutes to go. I'm sick of that. We're too good of a team to play like that. I don't want to see that. So, look, I'm hoping that Wolves game has lit a fire within the players. I saw Rice looked proper annoyed. Not only at the end of the game, but actually when we scored the winner, you could see him, like a lot of the Arsenal players were there trying to celebrate, and Rice looked furious. And so I really hope there's been some long, honest conversations in the dressing room this week leading it up to this game, following that disappointing performance against Wolves. And I think it's really important that the Arsenal players just get back into that mentality of like really high standards and kind of just going on another winning run, because we are going to have to put some wins together. You know, we've had this rocky patch now for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and we need to get back to putting together some really solid results. And I think it starts this weekend against Everton. So I'm going to back the boys. I don't think it'll be straightforward, but I'm backing us to get a relatively early goal. And I think if Grealish and Dewsbury Hall aren't playing, I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win. I think our players will be keen to prove some doubters this weekend. But like I said, if City put in a good 3-0, 4-0 win against West Ham, and we go into this game in second place, 1 point behind them with all the pressure on us, all the eyes on us, and this game kind of goes into half-time at 0-0, I think there'll be some really nervous energy going into that second half. So that's what we want to avoid. So yeah, I'm going with the 3-1 win. And let's see. I don't really have anything else to say at this point. Like I said, City look good. I'm still not convinced by their defence. I think unless they make some big improvements to that in January, I'm still going to stand strong on my position, which is that I think we are the best team this season. I think we have the best squad, and I think as long as we can keep those injuries at bay moving into the second part of the season, and of course if Man City don't do a madness in the January transfer window, I think we look good. But we've definitely got to pick our ideas up and get back to a certain level of football, because I think these last few weeks have been a little bit off the mark. I'm hearing reports that Big Gabby could be back for the Villa game, which is huge. I think he needs to come back as soon as possible. I think this has proved to me that he is probably... Him and Rice, to me, are the most important players to this Arsenal team. I think if you remove Gabriel or Rice from this football team, I think our performance and our ability drops considerably. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Gunners.